going on, y'all? Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to teach y'all how I like to tie a loop knot. I use a loop knot whenever I'm out saltwater fishing, and I want to show you guys how I like to tie it. So the cool thing I like about this knot is that you don't need a ton of line to tie it, and that's a really good thing, especially when you're saltwater fishing, because a lot of times I'm using a braid to leader, so not having to use as much line off of your leader is always a good thing. So I'm going to take about 7 or 8 inches of line and basically just make a little loop just like that, and I'll go and pinch right there to make sure that loop stays put. And sometimes I'll pull that loop up, make it a little bit smaller because you don't need all that much. But I like about right there, and I'll take my tag in and I'll go in and put it back through that same loop twice. So 1, 2. So now you have basically just 2 overhand knots, and then what I'm going to do is put my finger through that loop and then pinch the tag end. I'll pinch it up a little bit like that, and then we're going to take whatever I'm going to tie on, then I'm going to go ahead and put it through the eye of that hook. And so now we're going to take that tag end and do the same thing that we just did before, except this time we're going to go 3 times through it. So 1, 2, and 3. I like to take my tag in and my main line. I like to pull it down a little bit and start pulling it until about right there, and don't go all the way. Don't cinch it down all the way just yet. Whenever I'm using fluorocarbon or monofilament, I always like to wet my lines as a lubrication, because whenever you go to cinch this knot down, there's going to be a lot of friction, and friction can weaken your lines, weaken your knots, and obviously you don't want that. You don't want to be breaking off on any fish. So I'm just going to go ahead and wet it real quick. And the cool thing about this knot is that when you pull your tag in, it's going to pull that knot closer to the eye of your hook, and then when you pull your main line, it's going to tighten that knot up. What you got to do is just slowly start to work this knot closer and closer to the eye of the hook until you got a perfect loop at the end. And so what I like to do is just pinch this knot right here, and I'll go ahead and start pulling that tag in, getting it closer and closer to the eye of the hook. As you can see, we pulled that a little bit closer, and then I'm going to take both of them in my hand, kind of pull it down just like that, and then I'm going to pinch that knot again, pull it a little bit closer, just like that. As you can see, we're getting a little bit closer. Now I'm going to start pulling on just my main line to kind of cinch it down a little bit more. As you can see, that knot's starting to get a little bit cinched down. We're going to take that tag in again, pull it just a little bit closer. And also not a bad idea to keep wetting your line every time you're doing this. I'm not going to do this just for the video's purpose, but I like to actually wet my line a few times when I'm doing this, just because I'm going to be pinching it and touching it a lot, and you're doing a lot of cinching down and stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and wet it, 2 or 3 times when I'm tying this knot, but we're going to go ahead and pull that tag end a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and just pull my main line just like this. As you can see, it's going to pull that knot up just a little bit more. Keep tightening it. And that is basically it. Now we have that perfect little loop, and it's going to let our bait get a lot of action. It's going to let our bait swing freely. And I really like this whenever I'm fishing little paddle tails. If I'm ever using a top water that needs to have a lot of action when it's walking back and forth. Whenever I'm fishing one of these little twitch baits, I'll do it on little shrimp sometime as well. Basically anytime that there's not a split ring in front of my bait, I'm going to be tying this on for saltwater fishing. I don't really do it as much in bass fishing just because we're not using as thick of leaders. And so now I'm going to take that tag in, cut that off, maybe a little bit more. It's a little bit too much, Right about there is probably good. So that is how you tie a loop knot, y'all. I've been using this same knot for a very long time. It's basically the only loop knot that I know. I actually don't even know the exact name of it besides just a loop knot. So if you guys know the exact name of this loop knot, definitely let me know in the comments below. But I've been using this knot for a pretty long time, and so far it's been really reliable for me. So that is how to tie a loop knot, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you guys want to see some more knot tying videos, I'm gonna leave a playlist right here. If you guys want to subscribe, I'll leave that right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.